Jesse's Jabber with a friendly face. Welcome into your favorite space. If it's on his mind or it's in the air, and you've got a minute, drag up the chair. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Stay a while and enjoy the chat. Jesse's Jabber, Jesse's Jabber. Time goes by and life goes faster. Take a minute just to clear your head. Maybe there's comfort in the words that he says. Going through life with his kids and his wife. Throws in sports and some PS5. No hot takes, he just shoots it straight. Just a regular guy at the end of the day. If you found your way through the endless noise and clatter, listen in, maybe tell a friend. This is Jesse's Jabber.
The weather's warming up. The sweet tea's ice cold. The great white whale has a pollen yellow hue. And for a minute, things feel like they might have slowed down just enough to notice. Pull up a chair. Have you ever had one of those moments where you caught yourself thinking, man, I'm not the same as I used to be? Not in some dramatic, life-altering movie scene kind of way. Just quietly. Like realizing you don't recover from a late night quite like you used to. Or you look at your schedule and think, how did this become my life? Maybe find an old picture and barely recognize that version of you. Not because you looked that different, but because you were different. And somewhere along the way, without really noticing it, you changed. This is Jesse's Jabber, outnumbered, overstimulated, and on the mic. Let's get into it. Welcome in. I'm glad you're here. Have you ever looked at a photo of yourself from 5 or 10 years ago and felt like you were looking at a stranger? Not just because of the haircut or the questionable fashion choices, although some may be horrendous, but because of the look in your eyes. You're looking at a person who wanted things that you don't want anymore. A person who was afraid of things that don't scare you anymore. A person who hadn't been broken by the things that broke you or built by the things that built you. Change happens. And most of the time, we don't notice it while it's happening. We notice it later. Not the big, obvious life changes. Those get attention. We're talking about the slow shift. The kind that sneaks up on us. Because change doesn't usually announce itself. It's not like we wake up one day and say, all right, new version of me starting today. It's subtle. So subtle, we miss it. There's some change that once we see it, we can't unsee it. You know the change I'm talking about. Aging. Culturally, we're taught to fight it. We treat it like a house fire we're trying to put out with expensive creams and Botox injections. I can't bring myself to go that route. I'm not out here trying to go all Kenny Rogers and look permanently surprised because my face is so tight my eyebrows won't go back down. But what if society as a whole stopped looking at aging as a decline and we started looking at it as a seasoned experience? Aging has a way of humbling us real quick. Our body, it'll let us know, whether we asked or not. We tweak something, sleeping wrong. We need a minute to get up off the floor. We start making noises when we sit down that we swore we'd never make. And yeah, it's funny. And you can bet the 12 make sure I know it's funny. It's also a reminder we're not who we used to be. When we're 20, our body's a multi-tool. It can do anything, but it doesn't have a specific purpose yet. On the flip side of that, when we're 40, 50, 60, 70, our body becomes a specialized instrument. Yeah, maybe we can't pull an all-nighter on a diet of cheap pizza and caffeine anymore, but we're also not as lost as we used to be. Our nervous system is hopefully more calibrated. We know the difference between a good tired and a soul tired. The me of 5 years ago might have been faster, but the me of today is likely more efficient. We think before we react. We choose where our time goes instead of wondering where it went. We trade things: energy for clarity, speed for patience, impulse for intention. It's like trading horsepower for better steering. We might not move the same, but we move better. It shows up in the small stuff: what we care about, what drains us, what we're willing to say yes to, and what we're finally okay saying no to. It's realizing that our idea of a good time may look completely different than it did 10 years ago. Like there was a time when staying up late was the plan. Now, if we stay up late, we're thinking about it for the next 3 days. And the wild part is, it didn't happen all at once. It just shifted, little by little, until one day we look up and think, when did I become this person? And that question can go one of two ways. We can either fight it, or we can start to understand it. There's a different kind of shift that hits even harder. That moment when we finally get something we've been chasing for years, and then we realize we don't really want it anymore. Maybe it's the career path that we fought for. Maybe it's a lifestyle we thought would make us feel like we made it. And we hold on because we think, I've put too much into this to walk away now. But staying in a version of ourselves that we've outgrown, that's the real waste. Our past self made those goals based on the information we had at the time. They were doing their best, but we aren't them anymore. We're allowed to pivot. We're allowed to change direction. We're allowed to give ourselves a promotion or a demotion or a total career change in the middle of the night, if that's what current me needs to breathe. Because growth can feel like a loss. There are versions of us that we outgrow. Sometimes we miss them. We miss the version of us that had more time. We miss the freedom, the energy, the simplicity, the spontaneity. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with admitting that. There are versions of me that I miss. But I couldn't live like that anymore, even if I tried. That version of me didn't have what I have now. It didn't carry what I carry now. It didn't understand what I understand now. He wasn't worse. He just wasn't ready for this. In biology, before a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it enters the chrysalis. It turns into complete, literal liquid. It's just goo. It's not a caterpillar anymore, but it's definitely not a butterfly yet. That's where a lot of us live, in the in-between. We've dropped the old habits, the old roles, the old friends, or the old career, but the new version hasn't solidified yet. It's uncomfortable. It can make us feel lost. But consider this. Maybe we aren't lost. We're just under construction. We have to clear the lot before we can build a new skyscraper. And when we start to see it that way, it changes how we look at what we're letting go of. Because it's not just who we were, it's also what we wanted. Our goals change, and for some reason, that comes with a weird kind of guilt. Like we're supposed to stay committed to a version of our life that doesn't even fit anymore. Things we used to chase hard don't feel as important now. That can mess with us a little. We start thinking, did I lose my drive? Am I settling? What happened to me? But maybe we didn't quit. Maybe we outgrew it. Maybe what matters now just looks different. Maybe it's less about chasing more and more about protecting what we already have. Our time, our family, our peace, our energy. That's not settling. That's clarity. When we step back and really look at it, this isn't about losing who we were. It's about becoming someone new. That thought, I'm not the same anymore, maybe that's not something to worry about. Maybe that's something to pay attention to. Who are we becoming? Are we more present than we used to be? More patient? More aware of what actually matters? Are we showing up better, even if it looks different than it used to? Because it's easy to look backwards and feel like we've lost something. But if we look a little closer, we might realize we've gained something too. Perspective, stability, purpose. Maybe not perfectly, but intentionally. Think of a version of yourself from 5 years ago. The anxious you, the overworked you, the people-pleasing you. Don't look at them with shame. Look at them with gratitude. They were the shield that got you to this day. They did their job, but you can tell them, you can go now. I'll take it from here. Because maybe the goal isn't to hold on to who we were. Maybe it's not about trying to get back to some earlier version of ourselves. Maybe it's just about paying attention to who we're becoming. Because you're not losing yourself. You're just not the same anymore. And honestly, neither am I. And maybe that's the point. So if you've been feeling that lately, like things are shifting and you can't quite explain it, you're not the only one. We're all changing. Some of us are just finally slowing down long enough to notice it. Maybe that's the takeaway here. Not everything needs to be fixed or figured out tonight, but it's okay to notice, to sit with it for a minute, to admit, yeah, something's different, without rushing to label it or trying to force it into a box that makes sense right away. Not everything shows up with clear instructions. Some things just show up as a feeling, a nudge, a little bit of restlessness you can't quite shake. Instead of ignoring it or pushing it down like we've been trained to do, maybe we should start listening to it. Maybe we start asking better questions. Instead of, what's wrong with me? How about, what's changing in me? Not, why don't I feel like myself? But, what does this new version of me need that the old one didn't? That's where things start to shift in a good way. When we stop treating change like a problem and start seeing it as information. And look, that doesn't mean it suddenly becomes easy. It doesn't mean we wake up tomorrow and everything's clear and peaceful and perfectly aligned. Some days are still going to feel off. Some days, we're still going to wish things felt like they used to. That's normal. There's comfort in familiarity. Even if it wasn't perfect, it was known. And stepping into the unknown, even when it's better for us, still takes courage. Real courage. The kind that looks like quietly choosing growth in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday. The kind that looks like pausing before reacting. Thinking differently, showing up differently, even when it's uncomfortable. That kind of change, it's slow. It's subtle, but it's real. And over time, those small shifts, they start to stack up. We start responding instead of reacting. We start choosing what actually matters instead of what just feels urgent. We start building a life that fits who we are now, not who we used to be. And one day, we'll look back at this version of ourselves, this in between, figuring it out, slightly uncomfortable version, and we'll realize this is where it started. Not with a big breakthrough, not with some perfectly worded plan, but with a quiet moment where we stopped and said, something's different, and I'm going to pay attention to it. That's enough. That's more than enough. So wherever you are in that process right now, whether you're just starting to feel it or you've been sitting in it for a while, keep going. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to prove it. And you definitely don't need to have it all figured out to take the next step. Just keep moving forward, little by little, day by day. And give yourself some credit along the way. Because change like this, that actually means something, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens because we're paying attention and we're willing to grow. Because you're choosing not to stay stuck. And that matters. So yeah, things might feel different right now, but different doesn't mean wrong. Different might just mean we're finally becoming who we're supposed to be. Thanks for tuning in this week and letting me be a part of your day. I really appreciate everyone who takes time out of their day to listen. And if you like what you're hearing, please hit that like button. Maybe even share it with someone you think will enjoy it too. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Take a minute to let me know what you think also. I know there's room for improvement. That's all the time I've got for this week. I can hear the 12 summoning from the other end of the house. This is Jesse's Jabber. Outnumbered, overstimulated, and on the mic. Drive safe. Hug your people. Embrace the change. And we'll talk again soon.